One of AAOA's purposes is to create more collaboration and community in our industry. And one of the ways that we're doing that is through our member highlight series, where we introduce the professionals that make up the organization. It's my great pleasure to introduce Annamarie Buonocore. I've known Annamarie for a number of years as an aviation journalist, publisher, and fellow active member of the Organization of Flying Adjusters and other industry organizations, and I'm delighted to welcome her as one of AAOA's first members. She brings a broad network, deep industry knowledge, and strong relationships across the aviation industry, and I know she'll be a valuable part of this community. Let's jump right into the conversation with Annamarie. Yeah. If you'd like to just start with an introduction and especially any particular stories about how this all came together for you and how you got where you are.
Sure. I am the associate publisher of In-Flight USA magazine. We are a 42-year-old general aviation news magazine. We're based here in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we serve a nationwide audience, sometimes even a global audience. We have a circulation print of 30,000 and an online circulation of about 120,000. We produce monthly. We're 48 pages, thereabouts. And we feature the latest aviation news. We feature bylines from aviation people in the industry and flight enthusiasts. And we have a great advertising program for aviation businesses and other related businesses to the industry. That's my first hat. I was in editorial for a number of years. I have a strong writing background, but I've been in sales mostly for the last 5 to 7 years, calling businesses, working on emails, working on anything sales related in the company. And some other hats that I've worn in the industry that I've dabbled in a little bit. I also have inspection experience. So I've done some work along the aviation insurance line with OFA, Organization of Flying Adjusters, taking pictures of damaged aircraft, watercraft, etc. So I have a little bit of experience in the insurance industry, and I also have some aircraft sales work. We have a dynamic classified section in In-Flight USA, and we partnered with USA Aircraft Brokers, which is a Louisiana-based aircraft brokerage that was started by our longtime client, Keith Latour. And he has shown me some of the tricks of the trade in aircraft sales, and that is also another source of revenue for us, is our classified section and aircraft sales.
Excellent. So congratulations. I guess I think when we first started talking, your circulation was in the 20,000 range, or am I wrong about that? That sounds like
Yeah,
you've really
between
grown.
20 and 30,000. We have grown a little bit since when we started talking to you, yes.
That's fantastic. That's great. So your work spans publishing, aircraft marketing, and brokerage support. How do those areas connect in the way that you serve the aviation market?
Yes, through our advertising program and our classifieds, we strive to support aviation businesses. Many of our advertisers are aircraft brokers. They put an advertisement in the magazine. We also do newsletters that come out every couple weeks. We have a website where we can change the ads every day if the advertiser wanted to. And we also have classifieds where we list aircraft for sale and other items for sale and work with the advertiser on a commission basis. So we work with ABCI, you're a marketing agency, and we also offer marketing support. We're kind of a print extension, editorial extension of your arms. And that's kind of how we bring in the support line for other aviation businesses.
Excellent. So, from your perspective, what do aviation businesses often get wrong about marketing to aircraft owners and buyers?
Yes, well, we've heard a couple of things over the years that have really raised our eyebrows. And I remember one of them, one kind of thinking that a lot of aviation businesses have is if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come, word of mouth. You don't really need advertising. And this is a misnomer. Um, we have a lot of different readers, from student pilots to seasoned warbird enthusiasts, and they're looking at these ads every month. They're online, they're looking at ads. The ads are a really big deal. Newsletter ads are a really big deal. Having a newsletter is now a multi-million dollar industry. People are starting them up locally in many different jurisdictions. The advertising industry is as big as it is because it works. And we're a very small part of that. Just like they're a mom and pop business, we're a mom and pop business. We're a family business. We're not owned by Fire Crown. We're not owned by a major publishing enterprise like Flying Magazine or anything else. We have been in business for as long as we have, and we've been a family business. We're a grassroots business. We bootstrapped. We don't have any major investors. We don't have Silicon Valley money. We don't have anything like that. And because of that, we can relate to smaller businesses in the aviation industry, and we can meet them where they are in their promotional and advertising goals.
Right. I'm going to go off script just a little bit because I'm really, really passionate about independent journalism and what's happening to it these days. And I know you are as well. But is there anything that you'd like to add about how the industry suffers, I guess, when all of the media are owned by these huge corporations?
Right. And I think you start to lose that smaller perspective, the neighborhood airport perspective. Small airports, they're under threat right now. That's no secret. Whiteman, Reed Hillview here in San Jose, there's a lot of airports that are under threat of closure. And these are the small ones. And independent journalism does the best job of serving these airports, distributing to them, getting the news from them, covering the stories of the pilots who fly into them. That is really important. And the bigger corporations, big sticks with big, small sticks with small. And we stand by our smaller airports. We really do. We really make sure that we're hand delivering them, that we're meeting their needs, we're hitting the foot traffic there. That's very important to us. So that's another thing that people get wrong is they think, you're smaller and you don't have the circulation and distribution, but we're really niche focused, and niche is often the most powerful kind of marketing that you can do.
Absolutely. And another thing that I think people don't realize is that they think of aviation, they think of very, very large industries, very, very large corporations and things like that. Most of business and general aviation is run by mom and pop, medium to small businesses. And, that's the backbone of the
Yes.
economy, right?
Yes, they train the pilots who go to the big jets. And, one of the biggest confusions or points of frustration in my life since I was a kid is, oh, what does your family do? We have In-Flight USA magazine. Oh, the ones in the pockets at Southwest. And then you have to explain, no, it's not that In-Flight magazine. And it's a totally different model, but it has a strong place in the world and it's very important and it really supports the aviation industry. So, it's something that I have to explain, but it's a branding thing and it brings people in and they want to know more about the story. So it's a question I get often and it's an interesting story behind it.
It is. I remember having to correct people a couple of times when I talk about you that no, that's not what they are. This is a different magazine. It's actually a print magazine that you would find in the smaller, in the FBOs and in the MROs and, on the coffee tables and things. It's not in the airplanes. It's a different magazine. Through InFlight USA and BizAvJets USA, what changes have you seen in how aviation professionals and buyers consume information today as opposed to maybe 3 or 5 years ago?
Well, a lot has changed, and this is another thing, do you still print? People ask us that, it's so passé. And things have changed. I mean, we have more digital readers, a lot more smartphone users. That's a big deal. So we had to make our website, which our website's been up since 2001, and we had to make it mobile friendly, phone friendly. So how our readers are consuming the news has changed. Now with AI, we're seeing a lot of changes, a whole lot of changes. People are going to chat bots instead of to books, instead of to magazines, instead of to even websites. They're going to Chat GPT, to GenSpark AI, and they're typing something in and making sure that we as a publication are optimized for those AI platforms is really important to us. Keeping up with the changes is really important to us. I'm not going to lie, some of the generations past in this company have been a little resistant to technological change. And it's not an easy thing. It can be very overwhelming, sometimes expensive, but we evaluate. That's part of our partnership with ABCI, actually, to make sure that we're on the social media channels, to make sure that our website is up to par. And now with this new wave of artificial intelligence, we have our work cut out for us.
Absolutely. So, with all of that information, misinformation, non-information, other things, floating around in various forms, how does a company or expert signal credibility in aviation today, or actually be credible? And how do you know what a credible entity is even?
It can be difficult to know what a credible business looks like. And I have to say that we feature advertisers here who are really top of the line, people who are constantly delivering for their clients, constantly having the best interests of the aviation industry and community at heart. Community is a key word there because they're not just in it for the profits. They're in it because they want to see small airports stay in business. They want to see pilots succeed. They want to see more student pilots, more women pilots, more people of color pilots, LGBTQ pilots, all of these niches succeed. And they're doing amazing things out there. Some of our advertisers, Mountain High Oxygen Systems, they have donated oxygen systems to Samaritan flights and to flights that carry the sick and carry missionaries. Aircraft Spruce, they're sponsoring events. They're doing things all the time to help young people get into the industry. They support the mom and pop shops. They have sales and discounts and make sure that people get the equipment they need. Um, I'm thinking some of these museums that have advertised with us, they offer free admission to seniors, to youth. They're a great place to go for families to come and connect during the open cockpit days. And our advertisers, they demonstrate their credibility by what they put into the community, not just the industry. And when you see them in flight, you know that they're a real company. It's not some sham operation. It's both physical and online. They're doing a good job. They're going to give you good customer service. They're going to answer the phone when you call. It's live people. We just finished talking about the AI bots, and that's great, and we have our work ahead of us. But it's the live people in this industry that are making things move every single day. And we're really proud to feature these credible and strong organizations in our magazine.
Absolutely. So let's shift the conversation just a little bit to aircraft acquisition. Where do buyers underestimate the amount of risk or the complexity of an aircraft transaction? This kind of goes
Yeah,
back
this
to the
is an
credibility thing,
interesting
but it's a little
question.
different. Yeah, sorry.
And I my experience in aircraft sales is limited. I have the partnership with USA Aircraft, and I've worked with a lot of brokers and sellers and buyers, people who are looking for inventory or individuals who are looking to purchase a plane either to fly themselves or to be flown around in. Especially as we started BizAv Jets, we started seeing a lot of charter brokers and people who were looking into aviation because they didn't want to fly commercially. And we came out of the pandemic. We started during the pandemic. And I would say it looks cool. It's a lot of bells and whistles. A lot of people want to get into the business of aviation because it sounds cool and they want to give up their day job. But before you quit your day job, have a plan of mentors to help you get into the business. And if you want to buy a plane for your leisure, have mentors, talk to the right people. And I have to say that a lot of our writers here at InFlight, we have somebody who worked for our company for 12 plus years. His name is Ed Downs. He's very proficient, very intelligent when it comes to different kinds of aircraft. Get the right advice is what I would encourage them to do. I think a lot of people underestimate the length of the process and all that is involved in the process. And you want to make sure that you're getting the expert advice. You want to make sure you're vetting out all your options. One of the biggest issues we see is taxation, having to pay sales taxes and everything. And we have a client, Tom Alston, up in Sacramento, who has helped people defray the sales tax. So I would talk to the experts, talk to the people who can help you make the most informed decisions. Don't underestimate the process. And if you're somebody who's looking to get into a new business, yeah, it sounds cool, but make sure you follow the right people, because just like everything else, there's a lot of courses on Facebook, and you pay them X amount of money and they put on a course for you. It's an online video, and then they say, have a nice day. And you're just off to talk to friends and family. Be very careful. That's a trend in the online world that can throw a lot of people off. So I would say talk to the experts. We're a tight-knit community of people. InFlight represents that tight-knit community. Refer to us in our publication to find the right mentors and experts to get the right information.
Absolutely. So a lot of what you've talked about so far includes having the right network, being able to pick up the phone or send a text and get a response from somebody who actually knows more about this specific thing, that's involved with an aircraft transaction. So, how has your experience with things like inspections and due diligence and other things, how's that influenced the way you look at aviation transactions, and how has that influenced your view of your network and, how important that network is?
Yes, well, it surely has expanded my network. When I came into the family business, we were already kind of at the 25, 30-year mark. And, my family, my parents weren't going to networking groups and things like that at the later years. And I was doing a lot of local networking for some of my other businesses. I have a senior magazine as well, a directory for seniors, and that benefits greatly from local networking. But networking is very important in this industry, and a lot of organizations, AOPA, NBAA, those are some of the great places to go. Go to the conferences, go to the local fly-ins, go to the meetings, and that's really where you build your network. So getting into things like the insurance, photography, insurance inspections, getting more into the aircraft sales side of the business, I've really been able to grow and expand my network, not just in the aviation industry, but here in Silicon Valley as well. And it's been a wonderful experience being able to grow and develop a network, because when I first came into InFlight, I thought that's not a business that needs a networking group. You just sit on the phone and you make enough calls and eventually somebody will buy an ad. Well, okay, that's a great strategy, and we still use it here, don't get me wrong, but this is a networking business, and I'm grateful that I've been able to grow that network.
Absolutely. So you're a part of many different organizations, and AAOA, of course, is an organization that didn't exist before, and its primary purpose is around the aircraft transaction. So, what interested you in becoming a part of the AAOA, and why is that different from all of the other organizations? You just mentioned a bunch of them that you're part of.
Yes, well, I think organizations are great. I love it. I mean, I'm a Toastmaster. I have experience in Rotary. I've done Chamber of Commerce. I'm a club person, I guess you can say. And the aviation clubs are great. I mean, look at everything EAA has done with the museum, with Oshkosh, and all the great things AOPA has done. And organizations excite me. I think this organization that you're starting here has that potential. And I want to further develop the aircraft sales side of our business, get more listings in our classifieds, earn more revenue from aircraft transactions, make it more a part of our business so that our business becomes sustainable in the long term. You have to have multiple streams of revenue, as you well know. And I also wanted to join because I feel like we could offer an editorial platform and an advertising platform to the members of the AAOA. We could offer subscriptions. Having access and having a publication on your team is good for both the members of the organization and the publication. So I think it's a win-win all the way around.
Absolutely. So if we could wave a magic wand and 90 days from now, you got everything you wanted out of a membership in AAOA, what would that look like for you?
Well, lead generation is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And there's a lot of different sales jobs that people go into, and sometimes they provide you a steady stream of leads, and sometimes they don't. And a lot of businesses fail because there's not a good system in place for generating leads and how to approach those leads, how to make the sales pitch. And I think because ABCI is behind AAOA, you have the experience to teach people about sales and making the pitch and following up and keeping it short and making eye contact. All of these critical skills that are needed to close a transaction, from getting a lead, securing a lead, approaching your great Aunt Sally and finding that piece of business to closing it.
Mhm.
I feel like this organization is going to help those members do that. And that's what aircraft sales is all about. So if we could wave a magic wand, I'd like to see myself as a member of USA Aircraft Brokers in partnership with InFlight USA get that many more leads in our pipeline.
Mhm. And building the network as well, which you've already started. So, you bring a fantastic network to the group. And I know you give to all of the organizations. We're part of OFA and other organizations. So I know you're a giver as well as a getter. So I see that going on a lot with you in particular. And I hope you're getting as much as you're giving, or at least that's always been my experience with organizations, is that it always comes back to you multiplied.
Definitely. We have a lot of nonprofits. We have a nonprofit rate card. We give away a lot of free ads here. Not to the point where we're losing money, but we give away a lot of ads here, and we feel like we always get something in return. Whether it's a free visit to the museum all the way up to media credentials at Oshkosh for our writers and journalists. So we always get a lot back from aviation. It's definitely an industry that keeps on giving.
Right. Okay. So looking ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunity for aviation businesses or for you personally? And how do we want to work together more strategically in the future? What's your vision if we can put you on the spot for that?
There's a lot of opportunity in this industry. There's opportunity in print media if you focus on a niche. There's opportunity in aviation, for private aviation, and I read an article once about relabeling general aviation as private aviation. As much as we want to focus on the small airports, the mom and pop operations, the hobbyist pilots, I think there's so much potential to branch into corporate Part 135 flight departments.
Yeah.
And this is an area, especially for BizAv jets, that we want to focus on. We want to learn more about what their needs are and how we can better serve them. And I think for all of your members coming into ABCI, coming into AAOA, this is going to be a big part of our industry going forward. There's going to be a lot of AI startups, a lot of small startups that are going to grow into big companies. They're all going to need Part 135 flight departments. All of these big companies, the Teslas, the Facebooks, they all have aviation departments. The biggest FBO in this country, I don't know if this is happy or sad, is Walmart.
Yeah.
And learning how to serve these can be a great opportunity for the aviation industry.
Totally agree. And I think that's happened, in the last, certainly since COVID, there are so many first-time flyers, first-time buyers, first-time private aviation consumers. And they need a great network. They need, great service, and they need to have a great first interaction, I think, with the industry. The last thing we need is for those folks to be led astray or to find people that don't have the deep roots and the experience, and not serve them well, and then they get a bad taste in their mouth with their first taste of private aviation. So I think the market really supports what you're talking about. I've seen that as well. So thank you for sharing that. Any famous last words or anything else you'd like to share?
No, I thank you for having me here today. I love the industry. I love giving back. I'm really blessed that I got to be part of this industry just by being born into a family that pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and made this magazine without any major funding behind it or anything. And it's a real blessing. And if I can help bless other families that way and help them get promoted so that they get results and do better business, then the pleasure is all mine.
Absolutely. Well, we absolutely look forward to any opportunity to work with you, in particular, and in-flight and biz or in-flight and biz jets in specific, and OFA as well, and now AAOA. Excuse me, AAOA. I don't speak as well as you do. I need to join Toastmasters, and of course, I have to ask you about Aristotle and Socrates. How are they doing?
Oh, they're good. Yeah, my dogs are doing well. Thank you for asking.
They are so cool.
Thank you.
And I think it's so great that you've continued your family traditions and everything else, even with your doggies and everybody else. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for spending the time today.